Colleen, how are you? It's good to see you in person.
Yeah, you too. It's good, even if it's just on Zoom,
I
like
know,
face to face.
face to face. It's good to see people face to face. Colleen, this is Jonathan. I know you two have never spoken before. Colleen and I oddly connected more recently in this nerdy space of RPG, TTRPG world. We knew each other in a previous life, previous adventure with health and wellness, right? That seems like that was forever ago.
Yeah, even though it's only 2020.
It was
Like
only 2020.
time
That seems
feels
a
so
lifetime.
long ago.
Lifetime. Yeah, and I just happened
Absolutely.
to like stumble upon your account and I was like, this she looks
I
familiar.
know
I
her.
I know her. And then I started scrolling through your Instagram account and I was like, "Oh, Colleen." And then I saw that now you're writing and you have this whole nother life. It's
Yeah,
very
it's
exciting.
funny because we are posting so much for health and wellness, and I'm really into that, and it does play into what I'm writing. But like once I started writing, that was like, oh, okay, I'm in my zone. This is the right thing.
That was your
You like
thing.
find your place.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit because you have quite an incredible story. And I think from the time that you and I kind of lost touch in health and wellness to now, there was a lot of things that transpired in your life and a lot of things that you overcame to get where you are now. So do you want to share a little bit about your origin story and how you came about to be where you are now?
Yeah. Um, it's as always a vast road where you're like trying different things when you're a kid, right? And into adulthood. So, you know, marketing, communications, that was kind of the thing I was doing. Um, and then got furloughed from said marketing position in entertainment in 2020 with everything that was happening. So entered the health and wellness space, but was really glad around the same time, it was like 2019, 2020, that I got to experience RPG games and all of that. And because having that sense of community, right? We were coming every week for games and that sort of thing, was really important in 2020, right? So we could do it on Discord. It would all be like we could come together. And my D&D character became someone like I walked with, right? She was always there. She was always in my head. So kept me really positive. And I'm glad I created her before 2022, which was when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, right? I was 26 years old. No one expects that, right? You can't even go get a mammogram yet. They kind of say, you're too young, we won't be able to see anything, right? So, I was the one that felt it, was like, oh, I think I need to get this checked out, right? And by the time we did all the testing, it wasn't genetic. So it didn't come from my family. It just happened, right? So I was really glad that I had already been involved in kind of health and wellness space. I was very fit. At the time, I had just hit my bench press goal of 100 pounds. And then they were like, and now you can't lift. Like it was just like boom. But I was glad I had that because I was already strong and healthy when I went into treatment. So treatment was way easier. And then, like I said, having my Dungeons and Dragons character, they go through a lot of crap, as I'm sure you guys also experience in your games, right? And I was like, if she can put up with all this, I can put up with treatment and all that.
Absolutely. Well,
So
before we get any further and start going
yeah,
into this incredible story, let's officially welcome you to the Parking Lot Podcast so everyone knows who you are and they can start looking you up online. But
thank you.
thank you so much for being on an episode of the Parking Lot Podcast. And everyone, this is Colleen Ochab. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
everyone says it differently, but
Okay.
that was
Um,
good.
Colleen is an author and a writer. She's an RPG enthusiast. As she mentioned, she plays Dungeons and Dragons, which we're all about here. We're going to talk about her book that's coming out, which is Fight for Your Fairy Tale: A Guided Quest to Total Transformation. It's a blend of self growth, a cancer memoir, and fantasy, and we're really excited to learn all about that. So, thank you for being on an episode of the Parking Lot Podcast with us, Colleen.
Thank you for having me. Got an awesome community growing here, so I'm so happy to be here.
We definitely do. That's one thing that I think all of our guests have all said is how much they appreciate this community. So I know you started talking about a little about Dungeons and Dragons in the beginning of the pandemic, and Jonathan and I kind of have a similar story, right, Jonathan, of how
Yeah.
we got into Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if you want to share a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'd love to ask you that question because I feel like for people that come in to D&D later in life, that first experience is a lot of times make or break. And I want to know, like,
Yeah.
that first time you sat at a table, what was that like for you?
Yeah, my college roommate had been begging us like all of college. She's our game master. She was like, "Come on, we just got to do a one shot." And we're all like, we're the theater people who were also the behind the scenes. We're like, no, we don't want to be role playing and talking. We want to sit in the back. And she finally convinced us to do a one shot in person. We were in 3 time zones, so it was the time we finally like all got to come together around the holidays. And we played, and I just remember her talking to me like a character the first time, and I was like, oh, please stop. Like, this is so weird. Like, I didn't know what to say. I just remember that like anxiety. And I think she read that in all of us and was like, okay, we're gonna go fight something right now.
Mm.
Like, just kind of like immediately transported us, which was so smart because I'm like, okay, we can do this. Numbers, math, we can do this part. But by the end, we were like, okay, so is this the start of our campaign? Like, like it was kind of immediate. We played a couple hours that night. We're like, okay, we're doing this. And since then, I was like late, yeah, December 2019. We're still in the same campaign. We're only level 14. So you can tell us, we play like every week. So she's tough on us.
Yeah,
We do
yeah.
not level up all the time. She's so great. So we've been playing ever since. So luckily, a good game master read the room, and now we role play, and it's no problem, and kind of helps you uh grow past that, right?
I think it's interesting that you are a theater person and didn't like the spotlight, but then loved the mechanical portion of it. And you're like, let's roll some dice. And I mean, I think
Yeah.
nothing is better in the world for me personally is to grab some dice and hear them clack together and throw them down. And in your mind, you're hoping for the best and expecting the worst.
Yeah, I will. This is a funny story. In the book, I share it too as like a tactic. Is in the morning, I'll be like, okay, Leona, what's today gonna be? And like, if it's a one, it's like, chill out, go slow today. We're having you be wary today. And if it's 20, it's like, go for something crazy, right? I try to like use it. So I do think the math plays into it a lot. It's like, what's good with these numbers?
I mean, I have to say, I'm wildly impressed, and I think Jonathan and I might be a little both jealous that you've had a campaign that has lasted all these years, regardless of what level you're at, because that is
Yeah,
one of the most challenging things is
yeah.
to consistently get a group of people together to play D&D. So I am wildly impressed. I don't know what your DM does. Maybe we can talk to her later to see what her persuasion is, but I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
I think you should. I mean, we miss weeks, right?
Mhm.
When life gets busy, but she's in Florida. We're now all otherwise in Illinois. So, it's just knowing it's Discord. We could just hop on.
Yeah.
And if we're having a bad week, we just chat. And if we're having a good week, we play. And so just, I think taking the pressure off of it is big. Like, we're just a group of friends coming together, but the game is fun. So then we'll play when we can.
We had a friend a couple of podcasts ago say that a lot of his D&D sessions are 30 minutes of D&D and then 3 hours of just goofing around with your friends.
Yeah,
And it's still a
so true.
session, it's still good. It doesn't always have to be that we are like, fighting a dragon that week or like tackling
Right.
the biggest thing that's going on. It's that sense of hanging out with your friends and just making memories. And then occasionally you throw some dice around.
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys really like lore too. We're
Yeah.
like lore goblins. So we're like, just tell us a story and we'll write notes, okay? Like we'll like literally whole sessions. It's just like having to dump lore on the gods of the world or, whatever the thing is. So
Yeah.
I think we're also those nerdy people
I
who are like, oh, what's more?
I love lore. Like, I probably get a little too carried away when I write my character's backstory. Like, I have
Oh,
several pages and then I have to cut it down and make it even less, but I love it, and I'm always waiting to see how the DM is going to intertwine or, like, weave some of another character's story into whatever session we're in. Like, I'm waiting, like, I'm listening to see if, like, he's
the
going to
little
mention
nugget.
something about, like, this person or maybe this character, or, like, he's starting to talk about this. Is he going to ask me a question about my backstory and my history? Yeah, I love lore.
Mhm.
We talk a lot about on our podcast and in general too with Dungeons and Dragons, and so many people feel like it's kind of like a way to escape what's going on in the world. And all of us
Mhm.
kind of started playing around the same time when the pandemic was going on, but then you with all of your health issues, like was this something that you leaned heavily into? Was it something that helped you with what you were going through mentally, just to have this group of friends and have a place to just not think about life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just knowing like that it was that semi-regular commitment. Like I could look forward to that. We'd play, you could forget about what was going on that week, whether it's, just a tough job, having a lot at work, or like with cancer, it'd be like, my character doesn't have cancer. Yay. Like, like she can just go run and I feel like laying on the couch, right? Things like that. And I think having that space, whether it was, playing with friends or, then I turned her story into a book, that sort of thing later. That's not the book that's getting published at this point, but I'm hoping it comes, right? Is that um, you have that escape. And I think that's true of games, movies, books, right? Their escapism when times get really hard. But then when times are really good, they can be like the thing that propels you into your next great real life adventure, inspire you, keep you going, right? So I think they're just important to have in your life because either way, they're gonna either hold you up or push you forward. I don't think there's anything about them that can hold you down, really, and be that negative in a life. I just don't think they have that quality at all.
Yeah, especially D&D. I mean, what can possibly go wrong, even if you are annoyed with your friends in the session or they do something
Yeah,
completely idiotic and with their character, you still walk away at the end of the night almost always feeling better because you just sat down for 3 hours and told some stupid, inappropriate jokes like
fun
you're 12 years
story.
old with your friends, or a story, or, you shared some
Absolutely.
food. Like it's usually you walk away from it a better, more energized, positive person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd like to ask, what class do you play?
I am a druid. Um, and she wants to be level 20 druid. You're not distracting her from
No
anything else.
multiclassing.
You want multi-class? No. She's like, I want to be the biggest dragon ever one day.
Absolutely. That is
So yeah.
yeah. I don't always play druids, but that is probably my favorite, my preference, and that is my goal as well. Like, let's go. Like, what can I wild shape into one day? Like,
Yeah.
I in my notebook, I'm taking notes of like every creature that I've seen in our adventure, and I'm like, remembering that for
And this
later.
one, this
Noted.
one. What can I play?
Exactly. So you're level 14, so you'll get there
Yeah, we will. One day.
I mean, level
one
14
day.
is a big deal. I mean, you have a
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
power at 14.
Especially, I mean, druids, I feel like sometimes it's stupid power.
Yeah.
Like twice recently, which my game master's probably angry, she has just plane shifted the monster away. Like, like it's worked twice. And I'm like, this is stupid. And I give you permission to bring all the monsters back at once, like, and have her just get beat up because every time she's like, I tried to prepare a combat for you guys and it's over.
How many
You
So
players
just
sit
that's
on your
blew it out of
definitely,
the
table?
water.
there are three of us players and then our game master. Yeah, so small, nice.
I mean, we talk a lot about the size of a table and like, is it intimate? Is it, too many people? And I feel like 3 to 4 players is a great number. It gives you a chance to like interact with each other, have some spotlight, and then just,
Absolutely.
have fun in the game. We play, our main campaign is like, 7 people, including the
Hmm.
DM. And the only thing I like about that is it allows me to just shut up some days and like I don't do anything until combat. And then combat, I'm like, okay, it's my turn once every 20 minutes. I can chill and I can give the spotlight to other people. But if you want to
Yeah.
have that like interaction, 3 to 4 players is perfect.
Oh yeah. I definitely think it's nice because then you can really do arcs for each character where it feels nice that they can kind of advance their story if they want. And if they don't want, they can, the game master can blend it in with other people's, so they don't have to have the spotlight as much. They want to be quiet, right?
Mhm.
Um, I do think that's nice. Although the really large tables always inspire me because it's like, whoa, like how does a game master control this?
They don't.
What a crazy, like, just it is like, especially if you think of a party in real life being that big, yeah, it's gonna get wild. No one's gonna be paying attention at all times. Like, bless those game masters who are doing big tables.
I don't know how they do it. I've never considered being one. I don't know how they do it. Jonathan does it. My cousin, who's our DM for our campaign, does it, and I don't know how they keep track of everything. I mean, it's hard for me as a player to keep track of things from session to session, or even sometimes in that I'm thinking about what I'm doing next and not what the person before me is doing. And then yeah, it's a lot.
Mhm.
I'm wildly impressed by DMs.
I will tell you a trade secret of a DM, and it is the more my characters or my players are playing their characters, the less I have to do as a DM. Sometimes big tables are great. It's like everyone's just like talking to each other and they're so involved in their crosstalk that I get to, remove the NPC for a moment and just let the party be the party. And then I interject the NPC when I need to move the story forward. So, yeah, sometimes big tables are great. Sometimes you can just go, yeah, I took a half-hour break and I just sat back and like watched you
And
guys
enjoyed.
beat me.
I guess that's true because I mean, I don't know, Colleen, about your DM, but I'm sure that they have spent a tremendous amount of time crafting this world that you're in, right? You've been doing this for years, so I can't even imagine the amount
Yeah.
of work and writing that they've done behind the scenes. And Jonathan and another Jonathan that works with us have spent a very long time creating the world that we are in our Novemir anthology series. So for a DM, it has to also be enjoyable for you to have spent all this time creating and then get to see these people just play in this world that you've made.
Mhm. It has to be gratifying.
It
I
is.
feel
Mhm.
like that's
Absolutely.
the same way as a writer. Like, my dream is that it becomes a movie or TV show because I just want to see it. Just,
Yeah.
I
Let's
want to sit back and be like, wow.
yeah, let's talk about your book because that's the reason why we have you here. I mean, it's nice chatting with you, but we want to talk about this incredible book that you have coming out in October, right? Is that like the
Mhm.
big launch? What is the date and what is the book?
Yeah, it's October 20th, kind of right there in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I wanted it to come out kind of with that, and the 20th is just like a special day. because my parents got married on the 20th. I got engaged on the 20th of October. Like, just it's a good day. And it's
Good
sweetest
day.
day sometimes,
Mhm.
so it's just like a good vibes time. Um, so yeah, by that date, October 20th, 2025, it'll be available on Amazon in all formats except audiobook. But my game master will be helping me record. She's an audio engineer. So we might be doing that in 2026 to do an
Awesome.
audiobook version. Um, but yeah, Fight for the Fairy Tale, a guided quest to total transformation. Started like again, like 2019, 2020, where I was like getting into D&D and I was like, there's a self-growth twist to this. And it started really bad as mixing Dungeons and Dragons classes with like the Myers-Briggs personality test and like what class you should be because of your personality type. And then everything got a little hairy when Dungeons and Dragons got bought out and you couldn't use that lingo in books the same way. And I was like, oh no, my whole book went, can't do that now. But then, got diagnosed with cancer and, it took on a new dimension that I didn't really expect. Because I realized I was using my RPG character in real life. Like, she's a vampire hunting bounty hunter. And I was like, wow, my chemo's a lot like a vampire that I'm fighting in my real life. And so I just like latched onto her and was like, help me. She kept me positive. Like it was just like having an imaginary best friend in the best way. You could bring them around wherever. And I just realized that subconsciously, I was finally using all the tactics that are in every self growth book out there that's like not fantasy related, just any of them. Like the mountain is you, stillness is the key, whatever all the big ones are. Like they give you so many tactics, and I was finally implementing them because of her. Like it made it right. It just sunk in like, oh yeah, we have a goal. That's our quest. Like, and then we break it into little side quests to get it done. And so it became this how I'm using my character to not only beat cancer, but to pursue being a writer, pursue being a screenwriter, because it terrified me. So it was like, here's this big adventure we're going to go on. And then I just kind of realized anyone. So if you played an RPG game, you could use your character to do the same thing. If you don't play, you could use your favorite characters from books or movies. Like, think of Frodo taking the ring to Mordor,
Mhm.
right? Is like that was a struggle he didn't ask for, just like my breast cancer. But he went and did it and, saved the world along the way, like kind of thing. So that's kind of how it develops. So it's a little bit of my story, a little bit of self growth principles. There's a lot of journaling exercises and little activities that are your side quests
Mhm.
in every chapter. And then eventually, by the midpoint of the book, I'm asking you to pick a character and pick a big goal in your life and start fighting for it, right? So it kind of turns into a journey of your own. And just fun. Like each chapter split up where I'm writing in second person. So like you're walking through the woods and it's dark and you can't see. And you just kind of take the journey that way. So niche audience is Dungeons and Dragons people for sure.
Yeah,
Because it's
I
like a
love
little
that.
campaign
Yeah.
that you
It
could do
is.
by yourself.
You kind of are like a DM
Yeah.
in writing in second person and bringing someone along on this adventure with you. I know you had a unique motto that you used and that you've talked about, and that is fight for your fairy tale, that it does exist. So in your process of going through your treatments and in the world of D&D and writing this book, were you ever thinking that this was something that you wouldn't be able to accomplish, that you really had to fight for it? Like, it was not an easy time in the world in, 2020, 21, and then for you personally. So how did you say, all right, this is my fairy tale. It does exist. Like, what did you do to push yourself to write and create this book?
Yeah, I think is crazy as it is, cancer really helped. You know, when you're young, you think you're just gonna keep living forever, right? And something about that, even though my cancer was very treatable, we had good structure, right? It was, oh, like, I've always wanted to be a writer. Like, what if I don't get to? Was essentially the thing. Like, what if I don't get to tell my stories? And that was in the end, I think what scared me more than dying was like, well, and so I applied to grad school for screenwriting in the middle of chemo, and my brain was like offline. So thank goodness it was good enough to get me into the school. um, thank goodness I had something already kind of written that I just tweaked, because I got to do that. And then, yeah, wrote, was going through treatment during grad school, was writing this book and writing also all the homework pieces. But it was cancer scared me. And I was like, I need to go do this, right? I need to fight for the fairy tale because it does have the right to exist, even while I'm going through this tough time. And my mom was like, "You're crazy. Just rest." Like, I don't want to, because by the time this is over, I want to be running versus just starting, like
Right.
that
You
sort of
want to you
thing.
want
So,
to literally be running with your character that you've created in your campaign.
yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean, that's something that's so important for all of us is to always have
mhm,
something to look forward to, like always something to put your focus on that's in the future, whether it's, writing, creating, doing the weird, crazy stuff that we do here at Legends of the Tabletop, like always having a long-term goal, something to look forward to,
mhm,
because if you don't have that, when things get really challenging and you have days that absolutely just suck in business and in what you're doing, like if you don't have that long term something to look forward to, what's the point? Right?
yeah. It's hard to stay positive. It's hard to, keep going if you
Hmm.
don't have kind of, I don't want to even say the end goal in sight, but like the next goal
Next
is,
goal. Right. Because it's never ending. You're always going to have something after that. But the one first goal that you're going to meet, like having that in your line of sight in the future. Do
yeah.
you, I mean, I'm going to assume that you came, you face challenges in writing and in your creative process, and you probably had days where you didn't want to write but you probably pushed through. What were some of those challenges that you faced, and how did you push through them?
Yeah, I think every writer will experience their imposter syndrome. Like, why would anyone want to hear this story or hear it from me? Or you compare yourself to another writer and be like, my writing's not as good as theirs. Will people like it? Or are they going to all write mean comments to me on TikTok? Right? Like, things like that. So, I think one, school was so great because there were assignments, and I am type A. Tell me what to do, I will get it done for a deadline. So that kind of taught me how I need to work to get things done. But then I also appreciated, because we were taking three classes at a time, so you're writing three different stories at a time. That when one thing's not coming, just another one. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, this has to be perfect, right? I had
Which is
one
really
class
hard for a
where,
type A.
oh gosh, yeah, I want it to be so perfect. This
It
one
all has
class,
to be perfect.
the professor was like, Colleen, you have to take this one. It's not a choice for you. And I was like, why? And it's writing in 10 weeks an entire screenplay. And that's like crazy. That's like, you are a professional screenwriter getting big bucks from Netflix or something.
Mhm.
And he was like, because you're just gonna write it and you're gonna forget about perfectionism on the first draft and just go. thank goodness, because now I just also kind of treat all my first drafts that way. It's like, okay, this is just part, you have to gather the sand to make the sandcastle kind of thing. So I would say that's the hardest thing, and every writer experiences it, and I'm sure every DM experiences it. Like, what if they hate this world? And what if my campaign idea is stupid? And what if the monster's not cool enough? Like, it's just part of being creative and putting your creativity out in the world, is that now it can get critiqued, and that's scary.
Mhm. Yeah, we're all putting ourselves out there on the internet, on YouTube, on
Yeah.
Instagram. You have your book that's out for sale for people to read. What if they don't like it? But I think a lot of the guests that we've had who are creative individuals, we've heard time and again, and there's even really famous people that have been quoted saying this, but you have to create something that you love. You
Yeah.
have to create the thing that you love and that you want to see that maybe you don't find in this world. You have to create it, and there will be other people that will enjoy it. And if people don't, that's fine. But you have to
Mhm.
enjoy what you're creating and what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's huge. And just knowing you will find your community, you just have to trust. Um, that's why I was like, please don't let any of my videos go viral and find all the weirdies that aren't gonna like my stuff. Like, I was like, I want slow, I want to find my people who are positive and excited, like
Yeah.
versus, one video goes viral and now you have a bunch of people who don't like fantasy on your page. And you're like,
Mhm.
well, you're not going to like
Right.
any of the rest of my content. So,
Right. Oh, well, they're still going to be there. Like, I'm sure
yeah,
they'll still comment on all of our videos at one point in time, and we just have to be
yeah,
like, well, sorry you don't like it, but we do, and there's a bunch of other people that do as well. So
yeah.
this might not be for you,
It's
and that's
wild.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
just why are you staying? Like, sometimes I just want to be like, okay, like,
It's
Sure.
funny
you
how
go
much,
in peace.
yeah, how much
Right.
energy people will put into negativity. You know,
Yeah,
they will spend more time writing a piece about how they didn't like something, but if they really enjoy something, they hit the heart button, they keep moving.
Or they don't like it
yes,
at all,
No,
and
they
they
don't
just keep
like it
moving.
at all.
right. And then they wonder why they don't see more of that, like in their algorithm. It's like, you have to like and comment the things that you do like, or you're not gonna see it.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. I wanna ask you, speaking of likes, what is part of your book that you like the most, that you're the most proud of?
Um, I think it's being able to, blend something that is a difficult topic, um, into something lighter, more fun, but also not being afraid to deal with that morbidity kind of thing. One of my favorite chapters is like you're in my video game world, so your character dies and you get this chance to come back, of course. My D&D character Leona shows up and saves you, uh, which is just exciting to get to introduce her. But in that chapter, it's kind of asking you to reflect on, like, if next week you weren't going to be here, what would you do today if you knew that? And that's not like um, going crazy and being like, I'm going to go travel the world the next 7 days. But it's like, what would you be doing more of? Would you be spending more time with friends? Would you be hugging your dog more? Those types of things. And then that's what encourages you to kind of find not only your like dream goal of like the one that we're fighting for, but also the everyday. Like, would finding a slightly better neighborhood make you feel better because you could go for walks, like
Mhm.
ways to make your everyday just like a little bit better.
Mhm.
So that chapter is definitely hard for a lot of people because I do talk about death and that sort of thing, but I think it's one of the things that makes me who I am today and how I can be positive through all the crap and
Yeah,
all the pain that you deal with, is because I do just keep that in mind. Like, every day can be precious,
exactly.
and be a fairy tale in its own 24-hour little bit. Like, what can you do to make, even though you gotta
Right.
go to work,
Right.
and like, I'm gonna make myself a special coffee today. Like,
Right. You're
those
gonna
types
roll that
of little
dice in the
things.
morning and see what the dice foretells for your future of the day, and then
Absolutely.
you make the best of it and take it from there. And the dice, those dice are feisty, man. They don't
Yeah.
always roll the way we want them to, but our days don't always go the way they want them to either.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a really, sorry, we're just, there's someone
Uh,
outside. I don't know if they have a chainsaw and a lawnmower, a wood chipper. I don't know what's going on, but
always.
always.
I was
Thankfully
like,
good
I
now.
sent my dog out of here. I'm like, she's gonna be the one like right here. Like, excuse me, I want to talk to you.
Yeah, it never fails. You get on Discord or Descript and an animal or someone is just like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really great thing that you are proud of in your book and having, and it's something that you probably applied and did yourself many, many times throughout your whole treatment and after, and then even with writing this book, is just trying to find the good in the day. Roll those dice. And if it's a
Mhm.
one or if it's a 20, just working with it and moving through your day.
Yeah, I definitely think I will not ask you to do anything in this book that I have
You
not
haven't done it. Yeah.
done myself, or, put myself out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing your book. And I know you have this book that you're working on, but you have other books that you're also working on as well, right? You have a lot going on, a
Yeah,
lot of books.
I'm so ready. I always joke, it's like Hamilton, like, how do you write? Like, you're running out of time, right? I was like, I love it. And that's what, like, it's not hard for me to come after work, 9 to 5, sit down and write for a couple hours because I love it. And, like, have my proof copies, but like, you meet Leona in this book, and then I think my first fiction will be the start of her story, right? How she became a vampire hunter and, and why, what happened to her family, those types of things.
All
And
that lore.
uh, yeah, all the lore. And you know what? My game master, I hope she watches this. I'm gonna cheer her on because we've sort of like blended our world because I didn't want to steal hers, like knowing I was gonna publish. So I took my character kind of like out of the campaign. So like my friends' player characters are not in the story either, kind of like changed it up and replaced them, but we are blending our worlds. So they're like
Cool.
parallel versions of the same world. So she freaks out whenever she's like, "You named a town." I was like, "That's that town." And I was like,
It's
"Yeah, it's the
awesome.
same."
That's
But I'll
really
like
cool.
add an A at the end instead of an E,
Little
like
little Easter
just
eggs for
like,
only your DM.
yeah. So
I
she
love
loves
that.
that. And then I hope one day, far in the future, she publishes hers too, and readers go, "Wait, is this connected?" Like, I think
Yeah.
that would be really fun, like just to have a universe with your friend, and it's not a competition. Like,
Yeah.
we both like, go do this, we'll blend them, we can change it up. Like, she doesn't expect me to use the same pantheon of gods that
Mhm.
she's using, things like that. And we're just so they feel like the same but not. And I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm fingers crossed she does it one day.
It's
It's
always
great.
cool to have those crossovers. I mean, if I don't know how much t television you watch, but I think it's the WB. They had like 5 different superhero shows going all at the same time, and every year they do a crossover episode and pull
Yes, they're
someone
so
else
fun.
into it. And I love that. I love being like, oh wait, here's, this world that's already created, and we're just gonna pull in this cool character for just a little bit and give you like a taste of what that
Mhm.
looks like. I love that idea, and I hope that, she definitely takes that opportunity to grow that idea with you guys. That would be so amazing.
Yeah,
It's really
I think
exciting.
it's got so much potential.
Yeah.
Um, And that's the same thing. I think all of my books are going to end up in the same universe, but you're going to see like over time how like the choices my RPG character makes at the beginning has like warped with time, that it's become this, you
Hmm.
know, later, and then gets more and more. I write mostly medieval epic fantasy, but I think my end challenge will be like a modern fantasy and like how that world turned into that. I think that would be fun.
Cool. And are these the books? Because I know on your website you have, is it the Chaos like series that you're kind of doing? Is that this character, this vampire hunter that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Very cool.
The I'm thinking it'll be called the Chaos Born series. And then the first one's Becoming Chaos. Um, because yeah, Leona, and this was part that my DM created. The Chaos Goddess is really interested in her for some reason, which I still don't know in the true campaign.
Mm.
But she keeps showing up in her life, so we're excited to see. But I've like kind of created my own version of why the Chaos Goddess likes my character.
I love that. Are your friends and family like equally as excited for you in this journey of writing to like see the final book? Have they read any of what you have so far, or are you keeping it like a secret until it's actually out there and published?
Yeah, my group for Dungeons and Dragons, they are readers. They're my alpha readers. Just they know the character, so I think that kind of helps. Because they'll in great ways point out things and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't explain that. And they're like, we know it because we've been playing a campaign with you for 5 years. But they have been just incredible supports because you know a first draft is a mess a lot of the times. Like, wait, what? So they are always there. One of my professors from grad school, I TA'd for her. Now we're like book exchanging, editing for each other.
Very cool.
So just like building a great community. And my fiance keeps joking that he just wants to see the movie.
Soon.
he's the he's our movie TV show guy, but I know he'll read it probably once it's in a copy more physical like this. Because yeah, he likes the visual storytelling a
Hmm.
lot more. So movie producers, Becoming Chaos has been written as a screenplay first. I don't know why I did that during grad school, and then I was like, oh, I gotta make the novel version before I really or they're gonna be like, what is this non-IP thing that you made?
Right. Would anyone like to buy a screenplay on Amazon? You can read it at your leisure. You can act out all the
It's just
characters. I mean, it could have played
really
really
fun.
nicely into Dungeons and Dragons and doing some
Oh yeah,
voices. Like it
absolutely.
could have worked. It could have
Could have
worked.
worked.
Who
I
did all
do
of your,
recommend that.
oh, doing the screenplay?
Like
Yeah.
do the screenplay first.
It makes sense because you get into each one of those characters' minds, right? And see how they are going to like go through this whole adventure and this story. I want to know who did your artwork. I've seen some of it in the cover and it's really nice. I love the colors and the design.
Yeah, what's a funny thing is that this was really hard to get to this end product. And I had a writing coach that I hired kind of to like teach me the beginning to end of self-publishing since I knew I was going to self-publish this guy at least. Um, and so she hired the artist. I didn't know it was like a team of artists managed by a entity. So I don't think I would go this route again because I did find out I was not actually talking to my artist. I was talking to like the manager. Um, and said manager would change what I said because they thought it would be better. So it was a very challenging process. Like months of being like fixing one thing, but then changing something we'd fixed before back to the old thing. Like I cried and cried and cried. I could show you the first cover. It looked like a dinosaur, like very masculine, angry dinosaur screaming at you on the cover, and I was like, what about breast cancer for women? Ride, not fight the dragon. Did you not get? Like, it was just so hard.
It's
They
a
kept
little
wanting to make the
aggressive.
colors black and red, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, like breast cancer, pink, purple, like all these
Yeah,
things.
the
So
artwork that you ended up with, I mean, I'm good for you to like push through and speak your mind and say, no, this is what I want and fight for it. You know, fighting for that fairy tale book, you definitely did
yeah,
it. The
book cover.
artwork, it kind of I don't know if you've seen Dagger Heart's art that they've done, but it
Hmm.
kind of reminded me of that very fairy tale wispy like colors, really pretty like blues and purples and pinks.
Yeah,
It's a really nice cover. So however,
thank
whatever
you.
you did to fight, you did the right thing because it looks great.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I'm also a graphic designer for my job. So I was like, okay, here's this high resolution image that I
Hmm.
use on all of my marketing. Please just use this. Like, and the one great thing is then once I did a Zoom with the artist and I was like, this is what I want. And he 3D modeled the dragon and, colorized the leather journal on it, and I was like, okay, now we're on the same page.
Right.
So it was just like, and knowing as if like debut writers, like these are things you have to stand up for
Mhm.
yourself with, because you're like the artist team never read my book, like they didn't know what it was about, you know. I knew what it was about, so you have to trust that like the story better than a cover artist, because typically they won't read your book,
Mhm.
they're just reading the blurb you give them, and you kind of have to make sure you tell them the vibe. But I'm so glad with the way that it turned out
Is there
after
artwork
lots of
throughout the
tears.
book as well?
No,
No, just in the cover.
there's two graphics. I won't be able to find the page, will I? I make one a bounty board, because you get to choose in your character in the RPG version part of it, picks a bounty to go find a farmer's cow. Sweet bounty.
Oh, nice.
Um, and so there's a little bounty board with the other options, and the other options are very dangerous, or help me move my furniture to a new house, I'll buy you an ale at the tavern, right? Like,
I
which is
like
kind
it.
of like silly. So I did design that graphic myself, and they just inserted it in. Um, and then I have like a mock cover of Becoming Chaos in the back. But it's definitely a mock cover. I will be hiring a real artist to do
Yeah.
it. I am not the
You'll
artist.
be wildly famous after this and can go and hire an artist to do all of your designs.
Yes, and I will be hiring a individual artist.
Right. Exactly. To
I've
support that.
learned good lessons from this
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could spend another hour telling us all of the other lessons that you've learned, but are there any lessons, maybe since this is like your first book, are there any lessons that you've learned, like the whole working with artists, that you would want to tell someone else that's starting on this journey?
I would say, one, just to save money before, like while you're writing, really concentrate on, setting aside some things so you can afford a great artist to put your best foot forward. Or if you don't know how to format yourself, you could hire someone to help you do formatting. Especially on the self-published route,
Mm,
you're going to put so much time and effort into writing the best book that you can. So don't rush it, right? Like send it to a very good editor, let them take their time on helping you fix it, right? Get a good cover artist, take your time formatting. Because as much as we want it out there, I've seen, other peers of mine rush that process. And then, people get excited, they read their first book and go, oh, that was kind of messy, like if
mhm,
they find a lot of errors or things like that. So I think that's like the best, that you can dedicate both time to yourself to build that piece that really represents you. But then also during the time you can save money to do this because it is a lot of money to do all by yourself if you're not going to traditionally publish. So, and knowing that you might sell 100 copies and make $2, right? Like, things like that.
But
So
those
just have some
$2 you are going to be so proud of.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It'll
It's
be
so
crazy
exciting.
just to say it's out there. And just that like other people are reading it and I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
because normally like I give it to my friends and I'm like, so what do you think? Tell me more now. And just to know it's out there and it's hopefully helping other people with this one. And then as soon as I get to my fiction stuff, that it's entertaining people.
Yeah.
Um, I think that will be the dream in and of itself. But I really hope that it can become a career for me because I would be overjoyed,
Mhm.
you know?
I think that's what we all want, right? To do, we all have our day jobs, and
Yeah.
then we have what we're striving after and what we want to make our day job. And that's what
Yeah.
we enjoy and what we love. And that's what you're doing, which is a lot. It's stressful, it's exhausting, it's exciting, it's you cry and you laugh all in the same day because things go really
Yep.
well and then go horribly wrong. But I think that's really admirable for you to, especially with everything you've gone through in your life, and you have definitely, held to your fight for your fairy tale. Those are your words, and that's something that you hold true to, and that's what you're doing, which is really awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, what are your big plans for your book launch?
I just got news that there is going to be a New York Times Square billboard on the 20th,
What?
which is crazy.
That's wild.
That's awesome.
I hope there's
My
someone
coach,
there in the city that can take
yeah,
photos of this for you.
there is. Yeah, I called my friend who lives there and was like, "My gosh, you have to go. It plays for 15 seconds once an hour." Like,
And you stand
it's
there until you see those 15 seconds.
I was like, "You can record the whole thing." Like, that was really cool. I have an amazing launch team, about 180, almost 200 people, right now who, are gonna help blast about it on the day of. They're writing some early reviews on Amazon, which is
Right.
really, really important.
Yeah.
So just blessed. And then one day we'll do a little book signing or a launch party. Maybe a launch party on Discord. That would be fun. And
That
everyone
would be
can come.
really fun, right? Everyone kind of has the book,
Yeah.
and maybe you can send some signed copies to a few like surprise readers. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I think so.
That's super exciting. So
Yeah.
where can everyone find you on social media and your website, and where can
Mhm.
they buy your book, and just give us the date again and all of those details?
Absolutely. I am primarily on Instagram at Colleen Ochab, COLLEENOCHAB. Um, and but all social media platforms, that's my handle. Website's the same, colleenochab.com. um the book will be on Amazon. I'm working on getting it in some small bookstores and that sort of thing, but as a self-published author, that's a slow going process. So for now it'll be in all formats on Amazon. um and yeah,
And if you're in New York City
October
on the
20th.
20th of October, go to Times
Go to
Square and
Times
sit
Square.
there for 60 minutes so you can see the 15-second
I
pop
think
up.
it's at like the 5 minute mark of the hour, but
Oh, okay.
5 minutes into every hour. Just
I don't, I
bring a
really don't know
coffee.
how it works. I'm just like, just
That's so
floored.
exciting.
Um,
I'm sure there are multiple live cams of in Times Square. I'm
I
sure
think
you
so.
can find one and stream it so you can sit wherever you are and wait for it and do every
Like,
screenshot possible.
yeah, I definitely, uh, that was just wild. I think it's actually pretty affordable too if you're a nobody. Like,
Well, yeah,
they
Jonathan,
like,
here we go,
they try
Jonathan.
to be really nice.
In our
I think it's
budget.
like $250.
Oh, that's not terrible.
Um,
That's not bad at
if you
all.
can prove that you are not famous. Like,
Oh,
Well, I think we can prove we're not famous very easily, Colleen.
yeah.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, I'm super famous, so.
That's not true.
it's just like because they let you do like for proposals and stuff, you can do
Yeah,
it pretty cheap. And so if you're a business, which I feel like technically I
you are.
am
Yeah,
being like the writer entity and my editing, is that it's it's a little bit more expensive than the personal like proposal version. But yeah,
but
all you have to do is like, look it, I'm not famous. And then they're
hey,
like,
not famous.
because otherwise they're gonna be like, here's our 10 grand
Right.
version.
Right. And I
So you're like,
mean,
no.
that 10 grand is well worth it because the amount of people that are in Times Square to see those things every single day is unbelievable. So,
It's true, yeah.
50,
So it's a cool thing for small
that's very cool.
businesses.
Jonathan's looking it up right now as we speak. Are Legends of the Tabletop famous? Hey,
I
Google.
feel like you're at the perfect time where you have some like exposure and community, but
Right.
then you're like, I'm also not
Not
critical
famous.
role
Yeah,
level,
Yes.
um,
Right.
big entity.
Yeah, that blue check mark that you get in your name now, you can pay for. So I think
Correct.
that doesn't really
I
show that we're
paid for
famous.
mine
Okay. That's so
because I,
that's the worst.
oh, okay.
I mean, it works though, right? It gets you more exposure. I think
Yeah.
the algorithm likes it. I don't know. I think they're always
I
testing those
feel
things out.
like I saw less like algorithm engagement and more like more people trusting me that like
Right.
I was like legit and who I said I was. Which is just interesting that that does give people that confidence. But
Yeah. Right. So even people like us who are not famous can buy a blue
yeah,
check mark.
you can
And then
buy a blue
you can
check
trust us
for 10.
because we
It's
have a
like
blue check mark.
so weird. It's like, yes, you're paid $15 a month and you are now legit.
I
Like,
I do the graphics for Legends of the Tabletop, so maybe in our logo, I'll just put like maybe a blue check mark in, so it's just like it looks like it's there.
to be official.
That's it. I have to put official, the official Instagram of the Legends of the Tabletop,
Legends
which
of
makes
Tabletop.
people think that there's unofficial ones of us because we are famous. I'll do that
Correct.
after I apply for our banner though, because
Okay.
I don't want people to get confused.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, I first want to say thank you so much for hopping on our podcast with us. I
And
really
sharing your
appreciated
story.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank you for having me.
It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed chatting with you, and it was nice to finally actually talk to you instead of just messaging each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I do four rapid fire questions. They're
Okay.
very random, and if you want to participate, you're the one that'll be answering them.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
So the first one I have to ask, because I saw a story of yours recently, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Hans Zimmer or John Williams?
Hans Zimmer. I
I
just saw them in concert like
was
2 days ago.
that amazing?
Yes, I cried many times throughout, even though he was not there because
Oh,
he has the
right.
right to be retired guy,
Yeah.
but it was really cool. It was just amazing. And just to hear the music in the space. And again, it's kind of like pretend one day there's going to be a soundtrack to your music,
Oh
to your
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy dream. So, yeah, that was
So you want when you do your books, Hans is going to be writing for you. Yeah.
that would be amazing.
We've seen John Williams before, and he was there, and we were just blown away by it. It was
I was like, I would say
incredible.
equally impressive, like it's so hard. And now who's the guy that's up and coming? Like Bear McCreary is
Mhm.
doing like all the TV shows, like Rings of Power, and he's an actor. I don't think he's got a tour yet
So
though.
Hans doesn't write for you, he can. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta leave them with options. Um,
honestly, they're all amazing.
they've for real. They're famous. They're
Yes,
famous.
they're not getting
They're
no
not getting the
discount for
discount
Billboard
Times
for
Square ad.
cheap.
No, sorry. If you could adventure anywhere, where would you go and why?
Oh, that's hard. I love to travel, and I feel like I've gotten my dream traveling under my belt. My biggest one right now, my fiance and I are going to New Zealand for our honeymoon. So
Lord of the
that's the
Rings.
dream right now. That's
Mhm.
coming up very soon in January. So yeah, New Zealand's my current one, but Antarctica's always been my one, but I checked that off my list right after beating chemo. So
Awesome.
now I
That's
can't
awesome.
stay. I still want to go there.
That's great. New Zealand, that is going to be
Oh,
amazing. I can't wait to see your pictures. Carpool karaoke. What is your go-to song?
mm, I don't like singing in front of people.
So when you're in the car by
Ugh.
yourself and you're just like rocking out, windows are up, no one can hear you, is there a song you sing or you just avoid it at all costs?
I would say, I'm not singing in the car. I am blasting like How to Train Your Dragon. Like, have you ever played that song? Like at sunset, you're driving at night, it's summer, you got the windows down.
It just gets
And
you,
you're
it
like,
gets you fired up.
this is good. Just don't drive too fast.
Okay,
You
don't
know?
drive too fast.
Yeah, I would say I'm not the biggest singer, but the movie soundtrack music, I could sense.
Hans Zimmer, Dark Knight, Driving On, it's a vibe. I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. Long D&D session. I'm sure you've had them. What is your go-to snack during your first break? Like, what is your snack? What is your drink? What do you have at your table?
Um, I would say like chocolate and decaf coffee. We play at night a lot, so
Good combo.
can't go too crazy. But yeah, just some plain like milk chocolate, coffee.
I like it. That's a good combo. Coffee is good for those long sessions.
Yeah,
Well, Colleen, thank you again so much. Jonathan and I
thank
have
you.
really appreciated you being on our podcast today. You've already told us where we can find you, but why don't you just do it one more time for the people so they know where they can find your book coming out on October 20th?
Absolutely. So Colleen Ochab on Instagram or any social media platform, and on Amazon, just search "Fight for Your Fairy Tale" and it does pop up accurately.
I love it.
Yay!
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you again. And a quick
Thank
reminder,
you.
don't forget everyone that's watching to go check out Colleen, go follow her, show her some love, support her for her October 20th book launch, especially if you're in New York City. Go take pictures, tag her. I'm sure she'd love to see it. And also be sure to check out our friends at Eldritch Foundry, eldritch-foundry.com. They have some gorgeous full color custom minis. They also have some really amazing new products coming out and a very exciting launch that they're doing a Kickstarter for this winter that's coming out. So be sure to check that out as well. You can use our cheat code cheesebags15 to save 15% off your first order. And we have a whole bunch of more cheat codes in the link in our bio and our Instagram account. So that wraps up another episode of the Parking Lot Podcast. My name is Sarah. This is Jonathan. Colleen, again, thank you so much. It's been amazing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you can be the first to be notified when we do another episode of this podcast. Until then, we'll see you all next time on the Parking Lot Podcast. Thank you so much. Stay fresh, everyone. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Stay legendary.
Thank you so much.